Kirby,
Hi.
amazing.
Hi.
Hi, amazing job on this film. I love your role in this.
Oh, thank you. That's so sweet.
Yeah, so look, amazing job. This character is an iconic Disney character, and it's a different take on it. Can you talk to me of what it's like to play this iconic character, Anita?
Yeah. Well, what's interesting is when I auditioned for this role, the character's name was completely different. And I think I had dummy side. So I didn't know I was auditioning to play Anita Darling, which is helpful actually, because you don't really realize the weight of it.
Right.
And it's just really exciting to play a character that some people are familiar with because, there's obviously older generations that know the cartoon and know the Glenn Close movies, but there's a whole new generation of people that maybe know of Cruella de Vil, maybe haven't even watched anything, but I get to be the first Anita they've ever seen. And that's so exciting to me.
Absolutely, because we haven't seen much of this time span of Anita, but what did you want to bring to the character that wasn't necessarily on the page or even in the mythology that we've seen before?
Yeah, I think what I really wanted to bring to Anita was that, in the past, she was called naive, right? She was called because she is so kind and so sweet. And I think what's really nice about this and what I wanted to bring was that it's not that she's naive, it's that she's generous and she's non-judgmental, but she also is intelligent. She sits down and she says to Cruella, I forgot that you have kind of an extreme side. And I think that often people who are kindness can be taken for a weakness, but I think it's nice to show this isn't someone who doesn't understand the situation. It's someone who is unlike the other women around her, who is choosing kindness and is choosing to be ambitious, but to not tread on people in that process.
Absolutely. Now, can you talk to me a little bit about Anita's relationship with Estella/Cruella?
Yeah. So Anita and Estella meet when they're kids. They go to the same school. And, we meet Anita kind of doing what she does, which is, trying to look out for the little people. And she intervenes, when Estella is having a really tough time. And then their paths completely disconnect because Estella moves away and, we don't see what happens to Anita. And then what's interesting is seeing them reconnect as adults. I think it's a really relatable story because so many of us have, particularly if you're a transplant and you've moved somewhere else, so many of us have friendships where we miss such a big chunk of time. You kind of miss the growth of someone, you don't see them for such a long time that when you reconnect, it's almost like you have to feel each other out all over again.
Right, exactly right. Now, when you first got the script and you found out it was Anita, what were some of the things that stood out about her journey to you?
Some of the things that stood out about her journey to me, I think the main thing that stood out to me was it was really nice to see when I read it, because in previous iterations, her story has been so tied to Rogers, that it kind of came as a two-piece. And I think what was really nice about this was seeing her completely on her own and having her role have nothing to do with a romantic interest at all, and just seeing her in her career really like in her bag, and like doing what she does. And I think that's really awesome to see and awesome for people because and I feel like this, I feel guilty of this with my own mum, where it's like, you know them as your mum, but you don't always recognize that they've had a whole life before you. They're a whole person before you. And I think that what people have seen of Anita is her being a mother and a homemaker, but this gives everyone an opportunity to see who she was before that.
Now, switching gears for a second, one thing that obviously stands out is the beautiful costumes and set design on this film. The costumes and set design were amazing. What was it like stepping onto those sets with those lavish parties during the filming?
I mean, kind of as you would expect. This is one of the reasons why I hope people, if they have the ability to and the interest, go and see this film in the cinema, because I think it's the only way you can even get a slice of the grandeur that was presented. Because when I've never stepped onto sets like this in my whole life. I mean, some of it was filmed on the soundstage, but a lot of it was filmed on location.
Oh, wow.
Even the soundstage, like there are moments where I would step in and, like you go in the big doors and then you step in and I was transported. There was no way you would even know, because top to bottom, the set design was so exquisite. There's so much attention to detail that, particularly now where we've all been home and just staring at our own surroundings for the longest
Right.
time. I hope people can go out and watch this film and kind of be transported to another place.
Well, speaking of that, can you talk to me about the collaboration process with Craig? Because look, he does a great job of telling a visual story combined with the great music in this film. So can you talk to me about just the collaboration process and working with him? He's a brilliant director.
He really is a brilliant director, and I think he has a very clear vision of what he wants and what he wants to create. And from the beginning, Craig made no bones about this. Of course, this is a Disney movie, but him not wanting to make a Disney movie, you know,
Right,
him
right.
wanting to make the movie that he wanted to make. And when you have a creator who is that confident and that steadfast in their own vision, it allows you to really kind of trust in them and go along for the ride.
Yeah, that's another thing too, because I almost at times forgot I was watching a Disney like property movie because of the music and the tone. It was just so different, but it was absolutely brilliant. Now, Anita knows Stella for a long time. How do you think that impacts her decision to work with Cruella in the film?
I think the way that impacts the decision is that I think that you can have more empathy and compassion when you know where someone has come from and then you see where they are. So I think though they reconnect at a point where it seems like Cruella is kind of becoming a little more dangerous, a little more dark, Anita knows who she was. And so I think she also understands that a part of that is her leaning into the way that people have always perceived her.
Sure.
And also, they meet again at a time when they both need each other. Cruella needs to find a way to sort of dominate the headlines so she can supersede the Baroness. And Anita needs a way to get her name on the front page, which I think, again, generationally, people might not understand the weight of that. But in the 70s, to have your name, to be a journalist who has recurring front covers, you're set.
Absolutely. Now, another question I have for you is that Emma Stone has been working on this movie roughly for about 6 years. So can you talk to me about just how informative she was about the world that you guys created? Because obviously that's a long journey to get there.
Yeah, I actually, until doing this junket, I had no idea that she was attached for that long. Because I mean, in the scale of things, I came in so relatively recently. Like I came in on, I assume, like the final draft, and
Sure.
almost if not everyone was cast, and then I was cast. So I was fashionably late to the party. So I think, I mean, for me, I didn't have any conversations with Emma where she would go, because I don't think she's just like this, where she would go, this is the story. I think she very much let Craig and the writers do that. But coming in and seeing how much attention to detail she had paid to her own character and her own characterization of Cruella and making her own was inspiring, I think, for everyone. I think everyone came with, seeing someone at the top take such care in building their character inspired all of us to do the same.
Now, look, the soundtrack in this film is fantastic. Like, I haven't heard a soundtrack in a movie like this since like Guardians of the Galaxy, right?
Unreal, yes.
It's quite amazing. So what is your favorite song in this film?
Well, I think the song that has like the most, I don't even know if it's my favorite song, but I think it has the dearest place in my heart is I Want to Be Your Dog, or is that the title of it? I mean, it's like, now I wanna be, because that day was so phenomenal. Like, you saw the film, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm not spoiling anything, but that big rock concert was so much fun. And Joel played the electric guitar for real. And
wow.
Yeah, and John was up there like doing his thing. And what I didn't know at the time was that would be like the last live music event I would attend until today.
Oh wow, that's crazy to think about that.
Crazy. We filmed that in December of 2019. So truly that was like the last live event I was at, because then, 3-4 months everything shut down. Yeah. That's
incredible. Well, look, you're brilliant in this film. I truly hope there's a sequel, because I want to see the 101 Dalmatians kind of in this style, in this tone. I think that would be brilliant. But thank you so much for your time. You're amazing.